Okay, so The Science of Self-Learning by Peter Hollins. This book has been recommended by Luke BELMAR, and if you don't know who Luke BELMAR is, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's big in the education space, in the crypto space as well, and he possesses a lot of knowledge. If you've heard him on podcasts, you will know what I mean. So if you only take one thing away from this video, just remember, when Luke BELMAR recommends a book, you read it. Alright, so straight into it today. Feel free to screenshot these slides as well so you've got the notes saved in your phone. Okay, so when you're reading, do you ever forget where you were or skip a line? This is because you don't use a visual pacer. So when we were young, we were taught not to read like this, using your finger. But it's really conditioned us the wrong way. So did you know that the average person reads 250 words per minute? And I guarantee by you using the visual pacer, you're going to be getting at least 350 words per minute. So I'll show you exactly how it's done. Here we've got Jordan Belford's The Way of the Wolf. So when you see the lines, you literally just follow it and you scan it with your finger underneath, so you never forget where you're going. Also, another tip when you're reading the books, with the visual pacer, for the left side of the page, you want to use your left hand, and the right side of the page, you want to use your right hand. So this is actually stimulating both parts of the brain. Alright, so the next one, you need to stop subvocalization. This is where when you're reading the word, you sound it out in your brain. So your thinking speed now is actually limited by your talking speed. So when you're reading something in the book, they say speed, reading, tips, you think that in your brain. But you actually don't need to say that. You can scan over that speed, reading, tips, boom. But not without even saying it, obviously. And that's the same thing when you see a stop sign. When you look at the stop sign, you don't say stop. You look at it and you're instantly like, okay, stop, boom. You thought about it, but you don't need to say it. It's the same concept. Now, the best way to overcome this is you've got to be A, very conscious that you're doing it. So you've got to pull yourself in check whenever it happens. And B, also count in your head. So go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whilst you're simultaneously scanning over it and absorbing all that knowledge. The next one is the indentation method. So you've actually got two types of visions. You've got your molecular vision, and that's exactly directly what you're looking at, and you've also got your peripheral vision, which by definition is what's outside of your molecular vision. Now, the game with the indentation reading is to utilize and train your peripheral vision. Now, so the indentation reading is the next level above using your visual pacer. So on the line, instead of scanning over the whole thing, you only go 1, 2, 3. So you split the page in 3 different lines, 1, 2, 3. So instead of you doing 6 or 7 looks on the page to get the whole line in, when you're doing the visual pacer method, you just go 1, 2, 3, 3 looks. So it takes a little bit to get that ingrained in your brain, but once you're on fire, you are on fire, trust me. Next one is skip the filler words. This is pretty self-explanatory. So all the words like it, the, was, and, you don't actually need to think about it. You can take the sentence of 15 words and just break it down to the 8 words by quickly scanning over, okay, that's an important word, that's an important word, that's an important word. This one, like the other methods, this takes a while to actually ingrain into your reading, but once it's in, it's a skill that you'll wish you've always had. Okay, so the last tip is the weekly eye training that he mentioned in the book. So you want to do this once per week, 10 looks, and 3 sets. So it takes you a couple minutes per week. I don't think it's going to pick up in the camera, but what it is, you essentially put your hands out like an aeroplane when you're doing an aeroplane as a kid. You put your thumbs up and you're looking like I'm looking directly at the camera. This is where my head stays, and then I'm just looking to the side. Boom. There and back is 1 rep, so you do that 10 times. Simple. Do that every week. You're going to train your peripheral vision, and then now you can only do, instead of 4 or 5 looks to do the line, or 3 looks, you can do 2 looks because your peripheral vision has been trained and expanded. Now onto comprehension. This is part 1 of part 2. So this is the SQ3R method. So you start with a survey, you skim through the chapters, you read the graphs, and you read the chapter summary. The chapter summary has been the most effective for me. So you read the chapter summary and then you know what the whole chapter is about. So you know what to look out for and you know what to focus on when you actually go and read the chapter. So once you've skimmed through the chapter and you've picked out some of the key points and you know what the chapter is going to be about, you'll create 5 or so questions that you want to have answered at the end of the chapter. So you can go back and answer it and be like, boom, 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 boom. Step 3 is read it. It's self-explanatory. Read the chapter. Step 4 is recite. So all the questions that you wanted to answer when you were reading that chapter, you want to highlight the answers. And then underneath the questions where you should have laid out on a piece of paper beforehand, you go in and answer the question based off the highlighted points, but you change it into your own words. Changing it into the own words is a key factor here because it actually takes their information and it makes it yours. So the 5th method is to review. You want to review the notes and the questions that you've answered, as well as I always like to flick back through the books a couple months later and just read through the highlighted points, as well as making a chapter summary on Notion. So if someone mentions the book or you've got an insight that you need to be answered by the knowledge you've got from the book, you can go on your phone, open up Notion, and you've got all the valuable information you've done there. So anywhere in the world, you don't need the book that you've got at your house. Anywhere in the world, you can log in and get that information that was relevant to you. Now, to add to the comprehension tips, you want to do the Cornell note method. Now, before I explain it, I'll show you my notes and exactly how it should be laid out. So you've got a line there and then a line there at the bottom. You've got a lot of space here, little thin column here, and then a big row down at the bottom. The first step is the right side, and that's the one that's going to be completed first. That's where you put all the notes and you write down as much information that was relevant about the topic that you want to study and remember. Step 2 is called the cues. That's the left side of the little column. That's where you filter and analyze the notes into 1 to 2 sentences, max. And then step 3 is everything on that page, which is at the bottom of it. That's where you create a maybe 3, 4, 5 sentence summary. So when you can flick back through the notes, you know, if you want to find a certain topic, you'd be like, boom, boom, boom. That's the notes on that certain topic because you've got the cues set up with the notes and you can also read through the summary. Now for the best technique if you want to research from scratch. Step 1 is gather as much information and data as possible and organize it into categories and your viewpoints. Step 2 is you want to filter the sources and you want to look for reputable media groups and experts in the field. So the amount of sources that you got in step 1, you want to reduce that by about 75%. Now step 3 is you want to look for patterns and overlaps. These are generally going to be more reputable facts, and if more organizations are talking about it, generally it's going to be leaning on that true side. Now step 4 is you want to look for sources that disagree and contradict your thesis. Step 5 is you want to put it all together. You want to write a paragraph, teach it to someone, speak it out loud for both your thesis and what you've disagreed with. This allows you to get a full grasp on the subject, and so if you want to have a debate with someone or a conversation, you know their point of view and you'll know your point of view, and you'll have arguments to actually make a logical and correct thesis that's true to you. Now for some additional stuff I got from the book that I think will be valuable to you. Now we've got the Feynman technique. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, but it is what it is. This is to fill any gaps and to test yourself on what knowledge you actually have about a topic. So step 1 is you want to choose the concept, obviously. Step 2 is write a clear explanation from your knowledge. Step 3 is find your blind spots. Step 4 is use an analogy and compare to something similar. And step 5 is you want to completely and consistently repeat this whole technique until you've got the amount of knowledge and desired knowledge that you want to have on this certain concept. Now a little quote I liked is information is not going to teach you. You must have a dialogue with the material to make up for not having a stimulating teacher there. Now the final little piece of value I can give you is read the book. Literally read the book, and what's relevant to you will be absorbed into your knowledge now, because this is only what was relevant to me. There may be tips in there that I've already done that could be relevant to you. If you gain value from this video, hit the like button down below. Also hit subscribe. And if you want to listen to another book summary and gain more value from that, watch it over here. See you guys.